Family lawyers, it's time to have an uncomfortable conversation about your intake. It stinks. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through an SOP that we use to train our family law clients on how to close more phone calls using proper intake systems. I'm going to give you an over-the-shoulder look at scripts, at the process flow, exactly how you should have these conversations with phone calls in order to turn more phone calls into clients. And this is important to me as a marketer because what my agency really specializes in doing is search marketing, especially for family law firms. We do pay-per-click, we do LSAs, we do SEO, and we drive a ton of phone calls to our clients. Now, we don't get on the phone and actually close them, but it's important that we do because our agency works only on if you're closing deals. We want the month with everything that we do. So if you don't close the phone calls that we drive, we're not going to be around very long. So I learned very early on that a lot of law firms struggled with intake because you didn't go to business school. You're a lawyer. You studied the law. You didn't really learn how to do sales. And that's really what this is, because in the family law space, I'm going to settle an age-old debate here. You should be doing paid consultations for a number of reasons. It reduces the tire kickers. You're going to get higher quality clients in the door, people who have already paid, they're willing to pay. It clears up a lot of things. Now, I know that can be challenging because it's much easier to get free consults in terms of lead generation than it is paid consults. But if now you're focused on selling the consult as opposed to selling a retainer, things become much easier. And that's what your intake process needs to focus on. Your intake process needs to focus on selling the consult with a lawyer for $200, $300, whatever that looks like. And then the lawyer will then be responsible for selling the retainer after going through and building a relationship with that prospect. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump onto my computer and I'm going to walk you through step by step this exact intake system that you should be implementing at your law firm to close more deals starting right now. So this, again, might look a little bit different to you because it's a very detailed, very in-depth process flow, but I promise I'm gonna walk you through it step by step here so you understand everything that goes into it. So the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna zoom out so you can see the whole thing. This is a process flow diagram, again, that starts from when somebody becomes a lead in your business, which triggers the sales and intake process, all the way to the point where you're able to close that deal and get them onto a phone call and book a call with an attorney at the law firm. So I'm going to start here over on the left because this is where it all begins. And a lot of this is going to go through and answer probably a lot of marketing questions for you as well that are probably lingering for you, that we get a lot of questions from this from our clients as well. Here on the left, we have all the different sources of how you might be generating a lead. Maybe you're asking for people's phone numbers on your website to text message with them. Maybe they're submitting a form on your website to book a consultation. Maybe you have a website chat, or maybe they're sending you a DM on social media. And then of course, up here too, is if you get an inbound phone call. So over here on the left is all the things that are going to be submitted through your website or collected elsewhere, because the ultimate goal here is we want to get them onto the phone. So the main criteria that you need if you're going to be collecting leads on your website, of course, which you should in social media, is you need to have a little bit of a script to get people's phone number, right? Hey, how you doing? How can I help? In case we get disconnected, if you're on a live chat, what's the best phone number for me to reach you? Because all roads lead to getting people onto the phone. You need to get people on the phone if you're actually gonna be able to execute intake properly. Now, I know there's like some live chat stuff that you can do. You can go back and forth with DM. It's not as scalable, number one, and number two, there's nothing better than getting somebody on the phone. That's where sales happens. It's human to human, it's person to person. So you can just see here what happens is, first of all, as soon as you collect this information, you should be using a CRM. A CRM is a customer relationship management platform. It's going to be your sales database. Every time you collect some sort of lead or some sort of contact, it goes into that database, and then you have it in different pipeline stages. Phone call, qualified lead, unqualified lead, ready to speak to an attorney, paid consultation fee, ready for proposal. These different stages allow you to track and make sure that you're staying on top of this, and again, really execute a proper sales program, because if you do want to scale your law firm, you're going to need to get into hundreds of phone calls per month, and if you're not tracking and managing that properly, it's going to be a nightmare for you. So again, what happens here is all of these roads lead to a phone call. Now, somebody calls you on a phone call, right? It's going to trigger a different script than if you're calling them. So again, somebody comes to your website, submits a form, you should be trying to call them within 2 hours, no more than one business day, because if somebody's submitting forms, they're probably submitting on competitor websites as well. So you want to get them on a phone as quickly as possible. This is sales 101. As soon as somebody submits something, that lead starts to decay very quickly. So speed is very important here. You want to get them on the phone as quick as possible. So if they call you, the script goes something like this. Hey, thank you for calling Ryan Stewart Law Firm. My name is Jessica. how can I help? Just in case we disconnected, can I confirm your phone number? Again, confirming the phone number that you can call them back on as we do that. Now, if you are calling that prospect because they submitted a form on your website, it might go something like this. Hi, my name is Ryan with Ryan Stewart Law Firm. Just got your information from a website submission or from our live chat or from our Instagram profile DM. It looks like you're looking for more information on divorce or child custody. Do you have a few minutes to chat now? So both of these are trying to get somebody on the phone right now, qualify them. If they say no, say, not a problem. When is a good time that I can call you back? Get a time and a date that you can call them back, that you know that you can connect with them. Otherwise, you're gonna be in this constant chasing your tail. You're gonna be constantly trying to get on the call with this lead. So this just leads back here to calling them. Now, what you also wanna have here is you wanna have different scripts for different practice areas. So divorce, child custody, any of the different practice areas or places of interest that people are looking for from your law firm, you want to have slightly different scripts there, because the first step that you want to do here is a discovery process. We do this at our agency. If you try to book a call with us, we put you through a discovery call where we ask you a ton of questions to gather as much information about you. One, to qualify you, to make sure that this person is qualified to become a client, and two, to get as much information so we can sell you on what needs to be done. Let's say that this person says, they call you and says, hey, I'm going through a divorce, or in the process of starting to go through a divorce with my wife or my husband, something like this. Perfect, I'm happy to help. At Ryan Stewart Law Firm, we remove the fear of divorce and protect you by helping you maximize time with your kids, maximize your money, all in 3 to 6 months. Tell me about your situation so I can see if it's something that we can help with, right? So what we're trying to do here too is we're trying to constantly pepper them with little pieces of information that are a little bit supportive in terms of the sales process. We want to help you get more time with your kids. We want to help you save money, and we want to help you do it in a shorter time period. So these are small little points of sales that's building a rapport with the client and also helping them understand really what you stand for and helping them understand what the outcomes of what your services are going to provide. Then it just goes into a series of qualifying questions. And again, this is going to vary based on your firm, based on your state, based on different laws, but you need to have a set of questions that your intake person can ask, again, to qualify the prospect, because in this business, you're going to get a lot of tire kicking leads. And this is where you can filter them out. How long you've been married, where are you located, has anything been filed, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this will change if they're saying, hey, I need help with child custody. Depending on what they ask you about, you're gonna wanna change the different qualifying questions. So after you put them through this process, you can see this goes to the decision point that says qualified. If they're not qualified, then again, inside of your CRM, you move them to a file that says not qualified. That means do not contact this person anymore. We'll keep them on our email list. Maybe they'll follow up in the future again. But essentially, these questions here are gonna say, you're trying to dig into, one, if you can service them as a client, two, if it's somebody that you want to take on as a client, three, if really they can afford to pay what your ultimate retainer fee is. So if they are qualified, then you move them in your CMS to your qualified list. So now you have a qualified list of contacts that have come in that are in market for services, that can afford to pay for your services, and they've met the criteria of your discovery questions. So the next part here is now you go into the pitch. So you thank them for the information. This is definitely something you can help with. Now we're going to walk you through the next steps of this. So one, I'll schedule with one of our attorneys as soon as possible. As soon as they have an opening, I will schedule with them. Two, now you brief them on what's going to happen during that consultation. So you're selling the consultation with the attorney. You're selling the value. We're going to talk about you. This is important. Anytime in sales, when I do sales coaching consulting, I say, if you're saying me or we a lot, you need to stop. It's all about you. It's all about the prospect. We want to talk about you. We want to talk about what's going on in your life, in your divorce, with your kids, your situation, your family, and your goals. We want to discuss your goals, what you're trying to get out of a relationship like this. Your attorney will answer all the questions. Then according to your situations, they'll create an individualized plan that will maximize your time with your kids, getting away from your spouse, your sanity, whatever their desired outcome is. It's going to maximize your money. Now, this is where you sell the consultation fee. So all of our attorney consultations are $300. It helps get an overall, which gets applied to the cost of your case if you decide to move forward. So you're letting them know that, hey, you have to reserve time with an attorney because time is value, but also if you decide to move forward, we're going to apply that to your retainer. It's basically free, almost. Does that sound good? You always want to ask these questions too. Whenever you get to the end of a pitch, in all parts of this process, you want to ask a question that gets you a definitive yes or no. That definitive yes or no will let your intake person know which route in this path to take. So if they say no, like no, I don't want, why do I have to pay? This is where you come up with some objection handling questions, right? So as you go through these, your intake people are going to get a lot of these questions. You want to make sure that you're documenting them so that way you can come up with objections for your intake people to how to handle them. Why is this a paid consult? Why do I need to pay? All these different kind of questions that they're going to get off the back of this. How long is the consult? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever that looks like. What can I expect as an outcome of this consultation? You want to have all these objections handled and documented to give to your intake person so that way they can answer these quickly, confidently, and smoothly on the call, and they're not stuttering saying, let me check, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that they're armed properly. Now, again, we'll just zoom out a little bit here so you can see more of the flow. So if they are still kind of pushing back here and they say no, then we wait one day and then we follow with the prospect again. So if they're like, I need time to think about it, I'm not really make this decision, fine. Wait one day, mark that in the CRM, and then call them back the next day. Do that every single day until they give you an answer. Now, again, you also have to be mindful if they're like, hey, I'm just in the beginning part of this process. I haven't really started thinking about hiring an attorney yet. Then you also mark that in your CRM. We have a column in the CRM that we set up for our clients that says follow up in future, right? And you can assign a date that will notify you of when to follow up that prospect. So your intake person also needs to be closely managing this lead inside of the CRM. So that way they know when to do follow-ups, when to recontact that person, get back in front of them. So again, if you're calling them back, so if you follow up a day later, 2 days later, 3 days later, hey, name, it's Ryan again with Ryan Stewart Law Firm, just calling follow up on our call yesterday. Did you get a chance to think about the consultation? I know it's a fee. I know it can be a lot of money, but you're going to get all of your questions answered here. It's going to alleviate so much of the pressure and stress on you right now. Again, selling the desired outcome, desired state of where they want to get to. If you're going through a divorce, it is extremely anxiety ridden. It's extremely painful. It's an emotional toll. It's expensive. You want to take them to their desired state. You want to help them understand that as a result of this consultation, you're going to know exactly how much this is going to cost you. We're going to remove that fear, that anxiety from your life. You're going to know exactly what the path is to get time back with your kids, to give you that fear and anxiety that your kids aren't going to get taken from you. So you want to sell that. And again, you always ask a direct question. Can I book you in for this week? Get a date and a time. How does Thursday at 1 p.m. look? The attorney has an opening for you. He'd love to get on and talk with you. I already briefed him on your case. He did a little bit of research. He's got a lot of really interesting things that you're gonna want to hear. Sell, 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 desired outcome. So now if they say yes to the payment, sure, I'll pay $300. It's not a problem. I do want to talk to an attorney. Perfect. You need to collect that payment at that time. So this is all about the payment collection. I can take your payment info right now over the phone. This will ensure that you get the earliest appointment. So take their credit card, make sure that you have a payment processing open at all times. So when an intake person is talking to a prospect, they should have a couple things open. One, this script. Have an intake script, have the questions open. Even if they've done this 1,000 times, they can get tripped up sometimes. It's always good to have that in front of them so they have the next questions asked, so they know exactly how to push them to the next stage of this process. They should have the ability to collect and charge people right there then on the phone. You don't need to sign contracts here. If this was the injury and accident space, then yeah, you'd want to have some sort of DocuSign thing ready to go so they can sign. But because you're not selling a retainer, you're just selling the consultation. You don't need them to sign anything. You just want to collect payment and then get them scheduled right then and there on the call. And then the other thing they're going to want to have also a CRM so they can adjust that and make notes while they're going through this. So collect payment. Again, if they're stuttering here, I'm not ready to make a decision. Well, we're not asking you to sign a retainer right now. All we're asking you to do is pay a small fee that will be credited to your future retainer to get you in front of an attorney AF. You don't want to go with free consultations with these guys. If you do that, these guys are all burnt out. If they're not the right attorney that you want to speak to, they're often junior people or somebody who's just beginning is probably not qualified to handle your case. Again, sell, sell, sell. Know your law firm, know what your value points are. If you are a smaller law firm, and so you're a solo practitioner, you can say, look, we have to charge for these because we're a small law firm and Ryan gives so much time and attention to the clients that we have on retainer that we have to charge for it. Or if you're a large law firm, you can say, look, we charge for this because those smaller guys are taking a ton of free consultations just to get money in the door and they're not qualified to work with you because they don't have the experience. So you want to understand your law firm, your value propositions. You want to push that through and sell it. Now, the final thing you want to do is book the consultation and close out the call. So, hey, thanks for that, Steve. I have Ryan's calendar open right now. How does Thursday at 1 work for you? Great, just booked you in. The next few minutes, you're gonna get a confirmation email. It's gonna have a calendar invite on it. Make sure to accept that so that way it's on your schedule. You know exactly how to sign up. There's gonna be a Zoom link or a Meet link. Inside of that, that's where the consultation is going to be held. I also have a form coming your way. If you could take a few minutes and fill it out before the consultation, it'll help our attorney really get ahead of your case and understand exactly what we wanna talk about during your call, and our time will be used much more efficiently. Shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to fill that out. And that's pretty much it. After you do that, you close them out. Again, just have the intake person make sure to update them in the CRM to close consult. And now you've closed the consult with them. The next step is trying to sell them on a retainer. So you have now a list of people that have paid, and now they've spoken to an attorney. Now it's the attorney's job to close them into retainer. But now your intake people also have a list of people to call on after that to try and close them into retainer. Hey, Steve, just following up on your consult yesterday with Ryan. Just wanted to see how it go. Did we meet your expectations? How's everything doing? Great. Let's talk about the next steps in actually becoming a client and having us handle your case. This is a full process. If you want access to it, there's a link below this where you can opt in. I just got to give me your email and I will send this to you. You can get access to this process, all these scripts that go inside of it. This is a complete game changer. If you're a family lawyer, I tell this to people all the time in my team internally that every single law firm needs intake, right? Not every law firm needs SEO and search marketing, unfortunately, because it's kind of a nice to have. It's a lead generation strategy, but this needs to be a core part of your DNA. You need to be able to pick up the phone, you need to be able to close people because you're gonna spend a ton of money on marketing, you're gonna put in a ton of stress, you're gonna burn through a ton of agencies, and you're ultimately gonna blame those agencies when in fact, this is an internal problem. This is not something that you should outsource. You should go out and you should hire someone and train them on this. It's all right here for you. So again, if you want access to this, there's a link below, you can opt in. If not, I'd love to talk to you about this in person. We can implement this inside of your law firm. We can drive leads. We can help you close them through coaching, consulting, and done for you services. If you're interested, hit the link below, book a time with me directly. If not, I'll see you in the next video.